cannot feed all this mainstream media. We have to get the real good information. We got to get that because they're hiding it.
Family. It's time to resurrect our minds.
You guys, welcome. Let me know where you are. Let me know where you are calling from. I see you guys in the chat. I need you guys to let me know that you can hear me loud and clear on today. Good morning, everyone. I believe I am looking at so far. I see Tish Mills is in the house. I see Jackie Lynn McCoy. Good morning. You're in the house. Guys, let me know that you can hear me, that my visual is okay, that we're not having any internet connection issues, because I want to make sure you all do not miss a word of today's episode. We're back to our 20 to 30 minute timeline. Thank you, Jackie McCoy, so much for that. You can hear me loud and clear. You can hear me. You can see me. Welcome the new wife. You guys, welcome. Can you all believe that we are already in March? I want to say thank you guys for joining us on hey Gifty, on every single platform. Hey Marguerite. Please like and share. You want to see this because it is time for us to take some action in some different areas on today. We're already in March, so we're going to make it Momentum March. We're going to make it Memory March. We're going to march forward together in March, and I have some information for you all so that you can start thinking differently, because the world wants us to look at this while they're over here doing that. So we're going to pay some attention. And today's episode, of course, is entitled, Wait What? So go get your friends, go get your sisters, go get your cousins, go get your brothers, go get whoever you need to do so they can tune in to today's episode of Unfiltered with BC Wright. Of course, I would be remiss if I did not thank you guys for joining us on all the different social platforms. Whether you're tuning in now or later, we thank you for coming on YouTube or my website, which actually isn't even on today, or even joining us on Facebook, Instagram. We need you guys to be able to plug into the system so we don't have to do separate recordings. Just a little note. They're owned by the same company. But that being said, let's jump on into it. Hey, Nita, welcome. Hey, Susan, good to see you, my sister. Guys, it is, okay, watch this. Siri's about to start talking. Siri, I'm not talking to you. I love how Siri decides to pop up when it hears me say Susan. It's a thing. So welcome to March 9th of 2022. Today in history, you guys already know that March is Women's History Month, but we're not talking about women on today. Why? Because I believe in talking about women every day. We are the birthers of nations. So I don't relegate, just like I don't relegate Black people to February, I don't relegate women to March. We all deserve to be recognized every single day. But because yesterday was International Women's Day, I do at least want to put this up and say it was International Women's Day on March 8th. And so we celebrate you just as a reminder of how fantastic women are all across the globe. We celebrate you on today. Now, there is a lot. Hey, Dee, thank you for joining us. You guys are going to love today's episode. Let me tell y'all something. There is a lot going on in the area of history, but there's a lot going on like right now. We're in a season right now where it's literally, we're talking about history in the making. We're talking about the fact that you can't keep up with what happened, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago because of the things that are happening today. So we're going to talk about some breaking news on today. So if any of you guys were paying attention, then you all know that one of the major things that happened in the news recently, I believe that it was finally sent to Joe Biden to sign it on yesterday, was an anti-lynching federal hate crime bill. Yes, the House of Representatives on Monday night actually passed the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, which would make lynching a federal hate crime. Yes, lynching is illegal in all 50 states, but do all the 50 states enforce it? We're going to talk about that. To those who are unclear on what actually defines a hate crime, let me move out of the way and let's go ahead and review for a moment. So what you're about to see in front of you is going to be the hate crime definition. And so I'm going to move myself out the way really quick, and we're just going to look at it together because I want to tell you guys, there's some people on Capitol Hill who are confused about what a hate crime actually is. And so we'll get into that as well. So let's take a look. A hate crime is synonymous with bigotry, racism, torment, vandalism, sexism, bullying. It's a biased crime, okay? The original word came from the word spite, hate crime. For me, it's clear what a hate crime is, but apparently some of your friends on the Hill didn't think so. A criminal act motivated by prejudice that generally involves violence or vandalism. Is everyone on the broadcast clear on what a hate crime is, right? When you come up with a hate crime law, it is made to address those infractions that fall into that category. And for the rest of us, it's pretty clear what that means. But I just had to make sure that you all were clear on what the definition is before we get into this, because what we're going to talk about today is the fact that the Emmett Till law was passed, but there's a little bit more brevity and depth I need to add to the story. Who knows who Emmett Till is and knows the story of Emmett Till? And for those of you who don't, I would be remiss if I did not recap it so that you understand what's about to come next. So Emmett Till, it was age 14 years old. 14. And he was brutally murdered on August 28th of 1955 for what? For allegedly whistling at a white woman in Money, Mississippi. So an all-white jury acquitted his killers, right? Of it. They acquitted him. As a matter of fact, the people who killed him, you'll see them come up on the sideshow and you'll see them in court sitting with their wives. One of the wives is the woman he allegedly whistled at. Do they look worried about being convicted? For those who are saying, well, the state already handles it. Do they look worried about being convicted? Wait till you see that particular picture come back up. Here's the deal. What they actually said, they confessed to killing him. There they are right there. What they actually said was, well, what else could we do? He was hopeless. These are his killers. Saying this 14-year-old boy was hopeless because he thought he was equal with a white person. They said, what else could we do? He was hopeless. I'm no bully. I never heard a N in my life. I like N's in their place. I know how to work them, but I just decided it was time a few people got put on notice. As long as I live and can do anything about it, N's are going to stay in their place. So the men shot Emmett in the back of the head, the 14-year-old, and then threw his body over the Black Bayou Bridge in Glendora into the Tallahatchie River. And guess what? That wasn't enough. Then we had to weigh his body down with a 70-pound fan that they had gotten from a cotton gin, and we had to go get two of our black workers to help us and force them to do it. During jury selection in this particular case, this is just 1955, y'all. During jury selection, both blacks and women were barred from participating, and an all-white jury, males, took less than an hour to come back with a not guilty verdict for the murderers. A jury member was quoted as saying, "We wouldn't have taken so long if we hadn't stopped to drink pop." We wouldn't have taken so long if we hadn't stopped to drink pop. Mississippi, 1955. Why did I go through the extent of telling you guys all of that? I went through great lengths to make sure that everyone understood the story of Emmett Till, so that when what comes next makes you actually take some action. I need you all to understand that it took decades, more than 200 attempts. Do you hear me? 200 attempts to actually outlaw lynching. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said after 200 failed attempts to outlaw lynching, Congress is finally succeeding in taking a long overdue action by passing the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act. The bill actually received unanimous support, except for 3 Republicans. And gentlemen, we are calling you out on today. Those 3 Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, are Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Chip Roy of Texas, and Andrew Clyde of good old Georgia. So if you live in Kentucky, Texas, or Georgia, then you need to pay attention and you need to put your vote to work like you've never done before, because these were the 3 holdouts for the anti-lynching law. They were the ones who voted against it. Now that you're listening and hearing the story of Emmett Till, you have to wonder, how could someone vote against it? Now, the person who introduced the bill, and I'm skipping ahead, I want to make sure, Bobby Rush. Bobby Rush is the person who introduced the bill, okay? And he tweeted and talked about the 3 people who voted against this anti-lynching act. Yes, this is a wait what moment. Andrew Clyde of Georgia, his representation of his thought process is that he called the January insurrection a normal tourist visit. So you know his mindset. Thomas Massie of Kentucky wrote a bill to allow guns in school zones, but voted against this. Chip Roy in Texas actually called lynching an example of justice. I had to go research this stuff for myself because I can't believe anyone would say that. Talk to me in the chat. Let me know that you guys are hearing me and that we're 100% clear that we have to take action. So after I saw this tweet, I said, okay, let me go look this up for myself because, people can say what they want to say. I want to look it up. I want to see for myself. And you go to Thomas Massey's website and it is, wait, what? We go to Thomas Massey's website and his tweet rather. And here's what he said about why he voted no. I was like, the comments on him voting, they're like, we know why you voted no. Do you really need to tell us why you voted no? Thomas Massey said, this bill creates another federal crime of conspiracy, which I'm concerned can be enforced over broadly on people who are not perpetrators of a crime. Did y'all know there was a lynching conspiracy? I didn't know there was a lynching conspiracy. A federal crime of conspiracy? What are you talking about? So that is his words that he posted on why he was voting no. But we put resolutions in place all the time that mean nothing. But this is why he's voting no. I think another reason he posted is it's already illegal in all the states. Okay, but you see what Mississippi did. Do you know how many states have made things illegal? But because of the position of those states, people get away with it all the time. Are we kidding right now? So that was Thomas Massey. Take action. Y'all need to take it to the polls. Y'all need to take it to the streets. We need to vote against people like this who just don't care and aren't using common sense. But what about Chip Roy? I had to look and see, did he really say that lynching is an act of justice in some cases? Yes, he did. That's a video clip. I refuse to play it. But there's the news article. Representative Chip Roy calls Texas lynching an example of justice, and then he doubles down on it and says, I meant what I said. He said he meant what he said. So we need to mean what we say when we go to the polls. Get rid of them. We need to get rid of these type of people who are in office. So for those of you all who missed it, these were the three holdouts on the anti-lynching. Thomas Massey of Kentucky, Chip Roy of Texas, Mr. Lynching is an act of justice, and Andrew Clyde of Georgia, who apparently, I don't know, I don't even know, but I know Massey was worried about it being a conspiracy theory. I don't even know. So I wanted to make sure that you all understood that wait what moment. It's time out for foolishness. It is time to unseat some people. It is time to remember things like this and then not go sit back down and say, we don't have any power, because we do have power. We've shown power is in the people. So we need to start coming together just like them people came together on January 6th. They used their power for something different. We need to use our power in this hour that's coming up to impact serious change. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to move on to Did You Know? We're staying in Did You Know today. And the reason we're staying in Did You Know today, because there are some things that we need to make sure that we know, some things we need to make sure that we understand. Y'all, listen to me here. Have you all noticed that we have gone from controversy to COVID to conflict? I remember this came out when I was praying the other day, controversy to COVID to conflict. And now I'm going to ask in a minute, y'all, what happened to COVID? As soon as this conflict happened globally, all of a sudden, behind the scenes, it's disappearing. Behind the scenes, everybody take your masks off. It's like we moved from global controversy, Trump versus everybody, to global COVID, to global conflict. It's like a global agenda. But we need to pay attention to what's happening behind the lines. While we had our eyes focused on controversy, the controversy that was in office, there were bills that were being passed, which either they helped us or harmed us, depending on how you used them. But were we focused on that? Or were we just focused on the sound bites? Were we focused on all the little memes that people used to like to do being disrespectful towards the office? What are we focused on? Because right now it's time to focus on your families and to stay woke. Go beyond what it is that you see and say, okay, where's the opportunity in this? I know this isn't happening for no reason. Even with the COVID thing, did I not announce to you all that 500 billionaires, not millionaires, I didn't even count the millionaires, were created during the COVID crisis? Why? Because they kept their eye on the ball. They looked beyond the madness and said, okay, there's an opportunity. People are absolutely profiting in the midst of crisis. Do not be fooled. Even in the midst of this conflict that's happening in Ukraine, I want y'all to pay attention. People are like, oh my God, how is she talking about profiting? Because let me explain something to you. When this conflict is is over, there'll be another conflict and another conflict. So is your family going to sit still? Because I'm gonna tell you, the families and the millionaires and the people in the know and the billionaires, they're not sitting still. What they did was, as soon as they saw the conflict was about to be a go, they went and invested in oil. They went and invested in some gold. They went and invested in some silver. Those commodities are up. They said, okay, what profits during war? I'm just saying what happened. Don't look at me. I'm just the messenger. I'm telling you, your family still got to eat next week. Your family still got to eat next month. And your family still needs to thrive in this next season because a transfer of wealth has already been promised and it is taking place. So what are you doing? Are you sitting back? Unless you're at home making a Molotov cocktail bomb to help the people in Ukraine, then you need to be paying attention because you can't help nobody else until you help yourself. You need to help your family. Do you know how many people, do you guys remember the bubble of 2008? I ain't even in my notes no more. Do y'all remember the bubble of 2008 when the real estate market crashed? Now, remember, we had been in this season where everybody was making money, getting mortgages, people at McDonald's living in $500,000 houses, foolishness. But the bottom line is there were resources, right? But there were some people who took those resources and said, everything that goes up must go down. So what did they do? When those houses and those loans got taken away and everything smashed and the banks were collapsing, too big to fail, and the automobile industry needed help, what were they doing? They were buying that $180,000 house that you got foreclosed on for $20,000. Trina, tell them the truth. They had cash resources ready for the fall because when those things start to go, they made billions because they were like, oh, they started building apartment complexes. How many of y'all know more people are renting now than ever? Do you know how hard it is to even get a house right now because that swing went back up? Watch the pendulum. Where is the pendulum? And pay attention so that you and your family can be prepared for what comes next. So we're on wait what? So I want to make sure that I just leave y'all with a couple of facts on today that I want us to pay attention to. Do you guys remember, and before we get into that, do you all remember when we did the show called the PPP to Prison Pipeline? Do y'all remember us doing that show? And we talked about the fact that they were going to be building prisons for those people. Well, here is our president, Joe Biden. This is a screenshot of him at the State of the Union address, which happened, I believe, on last week. And I'm here to tell you that Joe Biden is committed, so committed, to prosecuting the $100 billion COVID scam. I submit to you it's probably more than that. The $100 billion COVID scam that he has actually gone out and gotten a prosecutor. A special prosecutor is going to be handling those cases. Y'all think some folks ain't getting ready to go to jail? You are wrong. So my question becomes, they're not going to just go after the criminals who stole the money. They're also going to go after the people who helped them do it. Who are the people who helped them do it? The people who knew that who helped falsify the income claims, who helped falsify the documents, who made up facts, who helped them start these new businesses that really weren't doing anything but taking the money. So there are some people who used it wisely, and there are some people who did not. I'm telling you, we talked about it before, the PPP to prison pipeline, and I'm just here as verification that what we said has come to pass and is coming to pass. So you better pay attention and you better stay woke. But that's not the only thing that we've talked about here on Unfiltered that has come to pass. And I'm laying this groundwork so that you all will know how important it is that we step up to the plate and that when we hear information, hearing and receiving the information, that's not the power, baby. The power is in applying the information. So it's important for us to apply the information. Hey, baby girl, I see my goddaughter, Hasha John, just showed up. Apply the information. So here's the deal. We see Joe Biden's doing just what he said, PPP to prison pipeline. But you know what else we talked about Unfiltered? We just talked recently about the blackout and the energy crisis and that it's imminent and there are things that you're going to need to have. We had a show that we talked about a shift in the atmosphere. Do you guys remember that? You all came on the show and you posted your thoughts on what we were going to need in this next season. You posted your thoughts on, okay, we need an electric generator. We need to make sure we have food that doesn't expire. What about, blankets and things like that? And we talked about the fact that we needed to stock up because we don't know what was happening, but there is a shift in the atmosphere, whether it's because of the climate, whether it's caused by a war, whatever it is, that we needed to be prepared. I'm telling you on today, this isn't a season for panic. This is a season for preparation. If you have not watched those shows, go back because what else is coming to pass? States are actually doing blackout preparation tasks, showing us what we need to do. What else is happening? The food crisis that we talked about in a shift in the atmosphere. We talked about the food crisis and it's happening. Did you guys know that there's an issue with bread? Did y'all know that? Let's talk about that. Bread. Do you see the wheat behind me? Most people probably do not know this. However, what happens overseas can impact us, okay? So you should have cupboards with flour in it already, baby. You can make your own bread so that you're not paying 4 times the amount that you should be. Why would I be paying 4 times the amount that should be? Because Ukraine, if you did not know it, is considered to be the bread basket of Europe. Why? Because Russia and Ukraine account for around 29% of the global export of wheat. And as a matter of fact, the price of the futures price for wheat got so out of control last week that they had to shut the stock market down to be able to get a hold of it because the price is about to be crazy. 19% of global corn supplies come from Russia-Ukraine area, and 80% of the world's sunflower oil comes from that area. Can I explain something to y'all? Do you know how much sunflower oil seems to be used in almost everything? Did y'all know that? Y'all better get y'all some flour, get you some water, get you some oil, and figure out how to make some Johnny cakes or figure out how to make some bread for yourself. But you need to get your storehouse together. My husband this morning sent me the price of gas. I believe that, and I meant to post the receipt, but they finally decided on a couple of days ago to stop buying oil from Russia. Now, you guys been hearing all of these embargoes that we're supposedly doing to help stop the war, but the whole time the United States was still buying oil and gas from Russia. They finally decided to stop it, and today, welcome to the $5.39 per gallon pump. Derek sent me a receipt this morning that he paid $5.39 for gas. How many of you guys were told to go get gas 3 weeks ago? Like, seriously, I even told my mom that even if a blackout happens, she needed to have extra gas cans sitting in her garage. She needed to already have all her cars full. And that was back when it was $3. Now it's $5. There is one analyst who's predicting $10 a gallon. Keep your car on full, utilize Zoom and whatever resources that you can, but be smart. Like, be smart in this season. And so anyway, that was the gas thing. That was a whole op thing. But here's another thing I want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk to you all about, and I got a couple of notes here. I want to make sure I'm doing this in order. I want to talk about wealth. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about wealth. Let's move on over to here. Let's talk about rich money. Okay, let's talk about rich money. Hey, Angela Walker, good morning. Welcome to Unfiltered. Did you all know, and some of y'all might knew, it's a wait, what? But you kind of knew, but maybe you didn't know. Did you all know that the wealthy avoid approximately $163 billion in taxes every year? Did you know that? It's because they know how to use the tax code. As a matter of fact, there's a website that talks about all the billionaires and the millionaires who don't pay taxes. As a matter of fact, Jeff Bezos, I believe he's the richest person in the world. There were 2 years that he did not pay anything, nilch, zero in taxes, but we're getting taxed out the wazoo. Why? Because we don't know how to use the tax code, and because we don't know how to move our wealth around, and because we don't have a wealth mindset. But after today, hopefully you will have a wealth mindset and learn how to use the tax code. It is legal. So why aren't we utilizing it? So here's an example. The stock market. An executive may receive stock-based compensation, right? And when it's time to sell, they may end up they may have other losing investments. So they sell them at the same time. So it's a net zero. So you lived off that money, but you didn't have to pay no taxes on it. Another popular tactic is if you have a portfolio, did you know that you could borrow money against your portfolio when you need cash? So you live off of the money of your stock or investment portfolio, and that way you don't have to sell it. Because I want you guys to understand that when you have a portfolio such as stocks, and you have different investment strategies, if you take a loan against it as opposed to selling it, then it's not realized income. But you still had the money that you needed to live off of. That is probably the number one way that they're able to keep their money and that they're able to not be taxed. I need you guys to pay attention to these strategies that are out there to be able to hold on to your wealth. There's another thing that the wealthy people do that we don't do, and there's a thing called dynasty trusts, and y'all need to look these things up. So a dynasty trust, what is that? It means that wealthy families I don't care if you're wealthy or not. If you got like $10,000 in your account, you don't need the government taxing it if you can avoid it, if you can just pass it on, right? So why aren't we using the same strategies? Wealthy families are making gifts to their family members. The Bible says we're supposed to leave an inheritance to our children to reduce their taxable estates ahead of time, right? Because some of this stuff is going to be going away. Get into some estate planning strategies, such as these dynasty trusts that they're called, so that you can pass wealth from generation to generation and nobody has to incur estate taxes at the person's death. Pay attention. We need to be investing in the stock market. We need to be investing in assets that we can take loans against them. Did not even know that thing existed. Y'all, wait, what? Yes, we need to stay woke and start paying attention to these strategies. But there's another strategy that I recently learned, because a lot of us are thinking about, I see you, Rafik. He said, we like crabs in the pot. It's warm and cozy. Then it gets hot and you're cooked. That's good. Okay, yeah, I'm still in that for my next time. That was Rafik. Thank you for joining us and thank you for that comment. Y'all, we need to be paying attention to these type of strategies. So let me move on to the next one. We talked about the bread. We talked about the Biden. We talked about rich money and how you do it. Let's talk about the cars. So what you guys see behind me, of course, is a used car sign, but this applies to new cars as well. I need you all to pay attention to a section of the tax code, which is called Section 179. And if you have a pickup truck, or if you have a van or something like that, I'm going to call that the free car section of the tax code. Why? Because for certain vehicles, it allows you to deduct 100% of the cost of the vehicle upfront. Forget depreciation over time. But imagine buying a pickup truck that you use for your business and it meets the qualifications and being able to deduct 100%. But it's not just pickup trucks. There are other vehicles that apply, like a Range Rover is on the list. A Model X truck Tesla is on the list. The heaviest Mercedes is on the list for heavy vehicles, which gives you deductions if you use it for 50%. As long as you use it 50% of the time for business, you can take an advanced deduction. Now, of course, there are limitations to that. I think for the heavy vehicles, it's like $25,000 that you can deduct up front. But these are deductions you can take. But some of us are not purchasing assets with the tax code in mind. We need to be talking to our tax specialist and getting advice, because I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm not a financial advice person. I'm here to tell you what I learned and for you to research it for yourself. Do your own research and understand that there are things, and passenger cars, by the way, they also apply. And the percentage of deduction that you get that's allowable in that first year. And it's a larger deduction in the first year, by the way. And there's also a bonus for used cars. Good luck getting one this year. But look at the tax code and say, before you make purchases, and say, how can I best take advantage of the tax code? How can I best utilize the laws to work in my favor? I feel like that's something that we fail at doing, and we have to start doing in this next season. So you guys, we're already at 9:40. So we are like past the time for me to keep running my mouth during this Wait What episode. It is time for me to give away some funds, and hopefully you will take those funds and invest them in something. I should have brought my silver over here, but I bought, 5 ounces of silver. I have a goal to continue to accumulate it. Why? Because right now I bought it at $24 an ounce. And it may have been 23 something, $24 an ounce. It's up like 6-7%, but hold it. Why? Because if it does what gold did, it's going to be worth a lot of money. Gold went from hundreds to thousands of dollars per ounce. I'm expecting silver to do the same thing. It is a hard asset. Pay attention. And here's another thing I need you to pay attention to. Pay attention to Russia. Their ruble may be worth like a penny right now. Okay, so it may be worth a penny right now, but pay attention, because they are talking about taking their dollar or currency and backing it with gold. Our money was really worth something when we backed it with gold. It was the gold standard. If their money becomes the gold standard, you better have some. This is just business talk, and it's real talk. Has nothing to do with war, has to do with income, because I promise you, people are profiting in times of war and in times of peace. So pay attention. That being said, y'all, somebody help me. I got to put a number on a sheet. Help me, somebody. So let me see. All right, I just wrote a number on a sheet of paper. You guys know how we do it. You are casts of Unfiltered. You guys know how we do it. This is what we're going to do. Oh, by the way, I'm so glad that Katrina Flukas put Mika McClendon's number up there. Y'all, if you're listening to this, go back to Freedom by Design when she had Mika McClendon on, and Mika McClendon talked about becoming debt free. Y'all, we need to figure out how to become debt free so that you can really accumulate wealth. Because some of us are trying to accumulate wealth with other people's money, meaning we ain't paying our bills, but we're holding on to it. Y'all better release it and start to multiply it and start to grow it. But that starts with having knowledge. And we need to have that knowledge base. So I'm glad she tagged Mika McClendon in this. And I need you to put her phone number in the chat. I know it's time to put the numbers up for Be Blessed because we give away something every single week. You guys, we need to learn how to manage our money because I'm telling you, the season is coming upon us. I don't care what it looks like, where we can really thrive, where we can really grow. And so we need to stay woke and not be sitting back going, wait, what happened? Wait, what? Okay. Y'all know how we do. Put your numbers 1 through 100 in the chat and I will announce a winner so that we can be blessed. Okay, everyone. Okay. So we do have someone who guessed it on the dot, and she often does guess it on the dot. Like, I just need to take her everywhere with me. Hey, Antoine McKinney, welcome. I need to take her with me and just rub against her sometimes because, of course, the number is 41. And our winner for today is Melissa Williams. Nobody is surprised by that at all. Congratulations. You are the winner of $100 from Unfiltered. You definitely show up. We appreciate you supporting the show and being here. So you guys, that being said, that's it. Did you know? Wait, what? Pay attention. Get people out of office who are not serving us. Invest in different things. Get yourself a strategy. Learn how to manage your debt. Do whatever it is you need to do. And Melissa, send me an email to beblessed@bcwright.com so I can send you either Cash App or Apple Pay or Google Pay, whichever method you would like to receive. But until next time, and guys, I guess I'll make that announcement later because we are on episode 8 of season 2, and I may or may not have a show next week, but I'll be making an announcement. So I'll just put it this way. Until next time, be blessed and stay woke. I'll see you guys next time on Unfiltered with BC Wright. So talk to me a little bit about this crime wave that's happening in Atlanta, and what are your plans to do something about it?
You cannot feed all this mainstream media. We have to get the real good information. We got to get that because they're hiding it.
Family. It's time to resurrect our minds.